Hi, Carolee. It's so good to have you on the Everyday Mystic.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is exciting. I love when I get to be on podcasts and then I bring those hosts onto my podcast and we get to do this beautiful exchange because it's different being a host versus being a guest, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is.
What and when, okay, the what of my question is what inspired you to start a podcast and when did you start yours?
Ooh, trauma. So much trauma. I had this burning need to be seen for all the hard crap I had been through in my life. So my podcast is like 3.5 years old. It's a crazy toddler running around, and it has grown so much out of that phase of please see everything. It used to be called Seeking Sunshine, and it was come and look for the positive in the trials of life, which sounds amazing, except for that I was having guests on my show where I was like, please come tell me your terrible, awful story of your life and how you transformed it into something positive. And then I was attracting guests who just wanted to use me like a therapy session. And it was a very guest centric show, not an audience centric show. And I I didn't quickly, but I, over the first couple of years of my show, learned how draining it was to have so many guests that were just kind of trauma dumping everything on me. And I was like, I need to up level. I need to move past this. I definitely got my therapy hours in as like a coach. But I needed to see how I had to move past that place for myself so that I could up level as a human and as a coach and as a business model, like as an entrepreneur. And so my podcast has gone through a lot of iterations since then. And now it's called Be the Dream. And it's about standing in your power as a human of like, what do you want to do with your life? Go be it. When you are stuck in that place of victimhood, a feeling like you are trapped behind a cage, nothing's ever going to work for me, I can't possibly do anything I want to do, then that's all you can see is the cage and you can't see your way out. It's about looking for the way out and then going there, finding the holes in the bars and walking through them and seeing where you do have power in your life and then owning it. So my kind of the sum up of my story is that I've got 3 kids with special needs and my husband's been disabled for a decade. So all of my dreams of being a singer-songwriter, being on massive stages, speaking, and doing anything with my life besides being a mom and caretaker full time, which I love my family. I adore them. But caretaker burnout is real. And if you don't have something for you, you will lose yourself in all of that. So you have to figure out who you are and be able to have the balance, the two sides of the coin, so that you can love yourself enough to do what you love so that you can have more capacity to love your family and be there for them. Because if you don't show yourself that much love, you won't have the capacity to get up every night and do the things that have to get done, to keep doing dishes that never end and keep doing laundry that never ends and keep having the math skills. One of my kids is severely autistic and type 1 diabetic, and it's the same old, make sure that the blood sugar levels are done perfectly. And if you mess it up, it's like life or death. But to have that capacity day in and day out, if you don't feed your own self, you will start to have diminished capacity at 3 a.m. Which, let's be totally honest, my husband does all that, and he's like a rock star. I sleep like a rock. I sleep like the dead.
Good. Well, you two are taking care of each other, it sounds
Yeah.
like, as well. And that's also an important aspect of this self-care is that you are doing the things that you know you need to
Yeah.
love and care for yourself, but that you're also in a relationship where you can love and care for one another. And that's also part of you loving yourself is that you're in a relationship that loves you or that is respectful to you and that gives you that he knows you need your sleep because you are the one cranking through the day and taking care of everything in those waking hours, right? Yeah, it's all a beautiful dance and you've signed up for some big things in this lifetime for
Yeah.
sure. When did you realize that Wow. What someone might consider burdens, might consider challenges that could ruin their own life. When did you understand and realize that these are gifts? Because I know that's how you see your life, but when did that kind of come into the understanding for you?
It's always a up leveling. It's always a growth and a balance. And there's days when I'm like, ooh, burdens. And then I'm like, wait, shift perspective, grow, shift, change. We have this incredible story of it's always in the contrast, right? When you see things the most clearly, when your perspective shifts back. So, my severely autistic 13-year-old son, Joshua, was completely nonverbal until he was 7. And like he couldn't mimic anything, he didn't have a single word that meant anything. And then he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and he almost died, like hospitalized for 3 days when he was diagnosed. And then he started talking. Like within a month of being diagnosed, he could say all of his colors. And within a year, he could say all these things. And now, as a 13-year-old teenage boy, he doesn't speak fluently. He has childhood apraxia of speech. So he speaks in like 3-word sentences. And often those 3-word sentences include male genitalia and profanities and things 13 boys say that make me go, I'm just so glad you can speak now. This is excellent. But it's the contrast that makes us go, you used to not be able to say anything. And now, even though sometimes you say things that she wouldn't, you also hug me and say, I love you, mom. And in order to get people to shut up on the phone, he says, I love you, and like does the sign language for I love you because he wants them to shut up. He also knows how to say a prayer in about 10 seconds really fast.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. And to get people to pray faster, he'll say his prayer over theirs. And it's really funny. He's kind of the timer when it comes to people going overtime on things. And he'll be like, all done. Like, we're just done now.
Hmm.
And he's so funny. And
Yeah.
it's in the contrast that you find appreciation.
We could turn to your son to write marketing copy because it has to be brief and to the point, and it would be brilliant, right?
Well,
To
and
just be like,
also,
how do we sum all of this up,
yeah,
this whole thing that I want to say in 50 words, in 3 words? And he's like,
right.
boom, boom, boom.
Well, and also his assumption of the sale, like, no, you're just buying this for me right now. Like, just buy it. 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 If you don't,
Yeah.
I will keep saying it. I will scream it. I will yell it. You're just buying this for me.
Yeah. So you're seeing those gifts among the burdens almost in like this wave pattern is how I'm picturing it. Everything's come and go and they're always moving in and out of each other rather than like, oh, I've got everything figured out, I'm a spiritual person and now everything is blissful and amazing.
Mhm.
No, right? We come into an understanding of what power we have in this life. We can pray and our prayers can get answered. We can actually wield consequence like in our life, and we know we have this co-creative power. We can use it, but it doesn't mean that we're infallible. It doesn't mean that shit doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that challenges don't continue to
Mm,
arise in order to give us more contrast, in order to
yeah,
give us other things to allow us to evolve through.
right. The contrast is a gift.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, it can be hard to see it that way. But when we take a step back, we can see more clearly.
You mentioned prayer, and I see your sign that says faith. And did you grow up with a spiritual faith?
Yes. Yep. Very strong Christian background. I teach at B.
Okay, yeah. So you're still in the same faith and
Mm-hmm.
you live in Utah. So
Yep.
do you have a lot of your spiritual brethren there?
And what's really funny to me is even on the days when I am struggling with my faith routines, let's call it that, my Joshua, my son, who's so routine based, will drag us right along because he loves routines and he'll pitch an absolute fit if we want to stay home from church because we're exhausted or sick. He wants to go to choir practice. He wants to go, and he will have a really hard time if we don't stay on track with all our things. He's the one going, say our prayers and have scriptures every night. Like, how come we're not, like, he's keeping us on track with all of our routines every day because
How beautiful.
because we taught him as a little kid, like, that this is what we do and here's our routine, and he will keep us on track when we don't feel like it. And it's funny how it's a blessing in a lot of ways.
Mhm. And that's life, isn't it? That we are, if we don't have that inner motivation, inner voice, and maybe Joshua is that inner voice for you or that inner motivator, the inner disciplinarian to say, oh no, this is the right thing. We're going to do that. And we can get led so astray in life by shiny object over here or just exhausted and stressed and succumb to that, even though we know what's going to make us feel the best and get realigned and to get re-energized is to either go to church for you, or maybe for someone else, it's to go to that yoga class or
Mhm.
to just go out and get fresh air and go for the walk. But instead they curl up and succumb to two
Right.
things, right? We have those choices at every moment to either take an inspired action or succumb to all of these earthly pressures, which they're real. But we have ways in which we can move through this life with more grace. So, what
Yeah.
are some of the other things that you employ and that you rely on in your life to move through with grace?
Yeah, my daily meditation practice is essential, and usually I'm doing that but without Josh. It's either right after he's gotten on the bus for school because his bus comes really early. It comes at like 6:45 in the morning. So usually I'll do it right after he gets on the bus, or if it's not a school day, it's before he's woken up in the morning. That's one of the contrast things is my kids are really good at sleeping in, but then they'll stay up really late.
Mhm.
So I very firm on my morning meditation practice, and then I try to have a little bit of meditation in the afternoon before they get home from school, and that is very directly related to Joshua and his overstimulation, loves to yell and be loud. And I definitely have found that I need that quiet time. I need that introspective, centering experience. And it's sort of in opposition to prayer, where we're getting out what we want, need, and are asking for. And the meditation is the listening part. It's the coming home. It's the what do you need to tell me part. So the morning meditation part is just really essential.
Yeah. It is absolutely. And one of those things that I feel or find that you can turn to at any time throughout the day
Hmm.
too, or that your life can even turn into a living, waking meditation
Yeah.
where you're moving through life differently. And I feel like the more you meditate and take the time to go and, do that at those set times, the more you do it, the more it carries through life.
Yeah.
So that even when you're not on the mat or in the quiet space and in the silence, you're carrying it through with you. It's like a prayer being carried through in your heart with you, even after you've spoken it, right? So it's like it exists even outside of those little time frames that we give it, the more we spend doing it. Do you
Yeah.
find that?
Yeah, and I feel like there's two different kinds. So like I also have like a bracelet that's like a physical reminder, and it likes to rotate. So it's got, I don't know, like it's like top heavy. So I want it to stay on top of my wrist, but it'll rotate and flip under my wrist. So that every time I flip it, I'm like, okay, remember, come back home. Remember. It's all working out. Everything's okay. I can come back. And that's kind of like a physical, like, I don't know,
Like
moment
a
by moment.
talisman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like, and I just like made this one day when I was like, I need like a reminder because I'm getting anxious, I'm getting out of myself, I'm getting away from it, and I want to have something to come back to. So I put this together and it's been really helpful. It's only been like a couple weeks since I made this.
Oh, cool. I
But
love that.
yeah, it's been really helpful to have that like reminder and to have that thing to be like come back to. But then the other thing that I love talking about is doing what lights you up, and that's sort of an external way. I don't know, external, like it's like a filling yourself with passion and deep diving into the things that just like make your soul light up, that like that just open you up to everything that's possible. I could talk about passion forever. That's just my favorite. And
Mm.
when you do that, it's a different kind of meditation, but it really is still, it's so important, and it changes the way that you interact with the world when you're doing the things that you really, really love. So, yeah.
Do you find that those things that you really love correlate to your God-given gifts?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like why we're meant to be here or
Mhm.
what we're meant to do in this lifetime. We can discover and know that by what lights us up the most,
Yeah.
right?
Sure. Well, and there's a balance, because there's the thing that you were born to do and meant to do, and then there's cultivating that gift, and there's practicing it and getting better at it, because a lot of the times, like, we have this born talent, but it does take getting better at it. Like, it does take the learning and the practice and the skill set. Like, there are skills that come, like, I was born being good at singing, but I'm not the same singer I was when I was 10. Like, I'm definitely better after decades of training than I was when I was a teenager, right? And that's maturing as a human, like your vocal cords literally mature, but it's also because I've trained a lot. But also, speaking skills is another thing that I really adore. I love getting on stage and speaking to people. And as I've spoken more and more and more over the last couple years, and with my podcast and as Toastmasters president, like, and as a speaker, it's my skill set has blossomed, and it's been an incredible growth journey, and I've been able to see that progress. But a lot of that progress has been in the way that I organize my speeches and in my confidence in myself. But I did have that natural seed of being able to speak. So
Mhm.
cultivating the gifts that we already have is really important.
Absolutely. Leaning into it and actually giving it energy because I believe that gifts, emotions, thoughts, all of these are their own entities. Like we're just getting to live with them, reside with them, play with them, partner with them in our lifetime. And a gift that comes in, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, here, I'm here. I'm here for you. What energy are you going to give me? Right. And it's this beautiful exchange. If you're not giving it energy, it's going to leave and it's going to go find somebody else to go and play with. And we can easily lose our gifts or lose the connection to
Well,
the gift.
and yes, but also a little bit no. I find that there are some that just won't stop knocking. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just something that, like, I'm so stubborn and so determined that I just couldn't give it up, and it broke my heart. Like, I tried for so long as a kid when I was solely doing caregiving for a decade, and I was like, "Stop it. I can't be a singer. I have to just do this. Nobody will ever listen to me. I'm not good enough. I'm too fat to be on stage. Nobody wants this. Plus, literally can't. I can't leave my house. I have to be here with my kids all the time." So it was a combination of lack of self-esteem and I don't have time, and I don't have the capacity to leave my house. I have no one to watch my kids. This kind of deadly combination. And I was like, please, like, pleading with God, like, get rid of this longing in my soul. And it never went away. And it just like killed me, like hurt so much, because I knew without a doubt that that was what I was meant to do. That I was supposed to be on stage. Like, I just could not shake that vision of being on stages, singing, speaking, performing. And yet this overwhelming dread of I'm not good enough. No one wants to see me took over. And so it felt like I was just trapped and stuck. And it wasn't until many years later when I learned that that voice was a liar. that I had power to change that, that it didn't have to be truth, and that if I wanted it, it was meant for me, that I started taking those steps to change everything. And so since then, I've released multiple albums and I did it from home. Like I have a studio here 10 feet from me in my basement without anybody watching my kids. I was able to release my own album from home. And now this year I'm getting on more and more stages as I'm able to find more people to watch my kids and as my kids become more independent, some of them.
Mhm.
And it's been quite a journey.
Mm.
But that's the life-changing truth, is that you have more power than you think you do. And that cage that you think you're trapped in, those bars, you fit between them.
Mhm.
You just have to look. You just have to stand up, walk up to the bars, and try.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so beautiful. And I'm really happy that you listened to that call and that you didn't say no to that. Right. And what I meant by that your gifts can go away is that we can disconnect so much from our truth and from our knowing that we can lose that connection
Mm-hmm.
to our gifts, to God, to our genius, to all the things that make us amazing, to ourselves and our
Yeah.
divine nature. We can completely disconnect to that and then live this awful empty existence
Yeah.
because you're not connected to the fullness and the truth of who you really are.
Yeah. Well, and it's a choice. It's
Yeah.
a choice that you've cut yourself off. And I think it's always available. It's just when you refuse to see what's possible for you because you've allowed those influences and that voice in your head going, I will never be able to be that thing that I want to be. I'll never get there. That knowing, because you have that internal voice. I mean, we're here on the Everyday Mystic, like, you have that spiritual knowing of what you were made for. It's just if you're going to allow it in or not. And maybe you've denied it for so long that you're like, no, I don't. I don't think so. It's just if you want to let it in, you know what you were made for. You know you were made for more than this. You just have to realize that there's so much that you're capable of and there's so much available to you.
What advice would you give to people who may have that feeling like there's this gift, this dream, this other life that I know I should be living, or these other things that I know I should be spending time doing and giving my energy to. And yet they're in that place of feeling like, but all the buts, all the excuses, all of the things that come from that fear and lack of confidence, etc. Those are very real and they're very powerful. So what's your advice to somebody to get over those hurdles so that they can walk through the bars
Yeah.
and actually understand that they have the power to change that perspective?
Surround yourself with the voices that say you can, because it is not going to be in the hearing it one time that you're going to be like, she said I can do it. Whoa, I'm just going to go do it now. Great. No, you're going to have to hear it a billion times before it clicks. You're going to have to hear that over and over and over and over again in 1,000 different ways before your brain's like, maybe.
Right.
Maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a possibility. And then that voice is going to take over again and be like, no, nope. And then you're going to have to consciously surround yourself again every single day with the voices that tell you, yes, you can. Anything is possible. If you dream it, it is meant for you. You do not have those dreams for no reason. That's why we listen to podcasts like this. I love listening to like tarot readings that are like, that dream, that thing, that nagging feeling in your soul, that I see it for you. It's coming for you. It's right around the corner. Hold on to that vision. It's coming. That voice, the voice that says, yes, it's possible, you need to outweigh all the negative ones with that positive one. Keep that on repeat over and over and over again in 100 different ways, because it's The one way that somebody somewhere says it at one point will finally click, and then it'll click again and again and again. But you got to keep it on repeat. And that's how you change your life, is you have to outweigh the negativity that just is, it's natural to us. It's biologically based because we are hardwired to look for the negative. We're hardwired to play small because it's safe. That's how we survive, is we hunker down and we look for the easiest, safest, smallest route, and nothing changes and everything stays the same, and we just play small all the time. That's what our neurological system wants to do, so that we don't do anything ever.
Right. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to do it, because if there weren't intrepid explorers out there that said, no, we're not going to just hunker down in the safety of this place. We're going to go explore and we're going to go find the food because it's dried up here. If there weren't those people that had that spirit and that drive and that courage, then we would be sort of this unevolved species, right? So it takes that 1, 200. And now we're in a time where we have relative safety. We have, just bounty of food and all those other basic things that we need to survive taken care of. So many more people can now go out and explore their curiosities and go explore and have that adventure that maybe we used to not be biologically wired for. So it's like, say yes to those things that feel scary. Nothing is going to happen that you can't handle, right?
Yeah.
Challenging things will happen. Tough things will happen. Absolutely. Like it's not just easy road as soon as you decide, oh, I'm going to go and do that. There's so much that can actually quote unquote go wrong, but all of it is on the path of rightness.
Yeah. But it's helpful to know that your brain is going to tell you, safe, it's not safe, go back, go hide again. And you have to train your brain to go, I can handle this. I can handle the unknown. I can handle doing something I've never done before. It's okay if I don't know the outcome. It's okay if it doesn't go the way I plan. I'm safe even if something goes quote unquote wrong. And training your body to feel safe no matter what.
Yeah. What you're saying is that the brain, which we all revere as this exalted, aspect of who we are, the mind is our intelligence is the most important thing. What you're saying is that it isn't the wisest aspect of who we are, right? What do you consider to be our wisest aspect? How would you define that?
Well, our monkey mind just goes. Like we breathe in and out, our brain just thinks thoughts. It just goes and goes and goes. And that's one of the things you learn when you kind of study meditation, is you learn that my mind's just going to think. It's just going to think. And the purpose of meditation is not to shut off all your thinking. It's to observe your thinking. It's when you listen to your body, which is your wise part, that you can step out of the overthinking of the brain and go, what does my body feel? What feels right in here? And one of the things I was going to say before, when you were asking about what do I recommend besides like surrounding yourself with all these positive voices, is learn yourself. And one of the things that really has helped me to learn myself, is studying human design, which teaches you to where you feel. How do you feel those intuitive nudges in your body? So coming back home to your body, where do you feel that? How do you understand wisdom and come back home to yourself is essential. So yeah, coming back home to your body.
Yes. Come back home to the body and use those feelings as the indicators of what is right, wrong, which direction to go, where not to go. Actually,
what do you need?
Getting even more attuned to what we would maybe consider instinctual versus mental. And we've lost that connection so much to the mental. And so it's not that we want to get rid of that in replace of it, but is reintegrating with the body intelligence, and then also our spiritual intelligence. Because where's that voice coming from that says, don't listen to your mind, listen to this instead? Where's that? coming from? What is that voice and why is it wiser? What are your beliefs around that?
Higher power is everything. It's just it's and we can feel that inspiration of what our higher power is trying to communicate through our body. Like it doesn't just communicate, it communicates in so many different ways, and learning how you best interpret those signals is so important. And sometimes they just come in all sorts of different ways, which is one of the reasons why I say surround yourself with that positive energy and those positive voices, because you pick up the things that are inspired, that are meant for you when you do that. And I find so much inspiration as I'm like, wait, that one. I feel like I've heard that message 200 times, but for some reason that particular iteration of it really struck me. And now I'm able to integrate it and take it as part of me. And you can't really you don't really know something until you can turn around and teach it. And so I know that I've really taken it when I'm like, "Oh, let me tell you about this on my podcast."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's how you feel inspiration, and that's how you know is its higher power is it's different than what you already think, because what you already think is the thing that's spinning around in your head over and over and over again. And
Hmm.
it's usually not particularly positive. That's often not.
Right. Yeah, right. It can be riddled with, like you were saying, all these messages of safety rather than,
Yeah. Well, and
wait, I am safe. It's okay. Now I'm going to go and explore. But it's just like, no,
yeah.
don't do that. Don't do that. You
Yeah,
could
it's the open
jeopardize your
versus
safety.
yeah, it's the open versus the closed, the higher version of us, the higher power. When we're listening to God, when we're listening to that inspired voice, it inspires us to breathe, to calm down, to be open. And when we're listening to that monkey mind, to the negativity that just kind of runs free in our brain, we close up, we play small, we hide. And what I find really interesting, because I teach stage fright and like how to overcome stage fright, and I teach public speaking skills, all of this stuff shows up in your body whatever you're doing in life. So the whole like feeling safe versus not feeling safe, when you are listening to your body versus when you're not, if you're just like, whatever, I don't need this, I'm going to ignore it all, it shows up in your body no matter what you do. People who are like, well, I want to come and be a speaker and I've never done it before, but I'm confident. They go up and they stand on stage, and you can see in their physicality that they do not want to be there. Like their body does not feel safe on stage, because they do these T-Rex arms, which is like a fetal position on stage, and it's not full on, like it's like just kind of subtle, but you could see it in their energy, like it's small energy. And then they kind of scooch to the very, very back of the stage, like as far back as they possibly can in the stage. Versus somebody who feels safe, who knows who they are, who knows why they want to be there, who's comfortable with who they are. And for the record, if you're not comfortable by yourself with who you are, like in meditative state, like open and free to be you by yourself, if you can't do that alone, you can't do it in front of people. You have to be able to feel safe by yourself, thinking your whatever thoughts and just observing it. Like, do it alone first, versus somebody who on stage is like, oh, okay. And this has nothing to do with being loud or being charismatic or being whatever, but somebody who's safe on stage, who feels like they belong just to themselves. Their body language is completely different. They have their arms out, they're open, they look at people in the eyes. They are willing to get within a couple feet of the closest audience member. They're willing to walk around. They don't forget what they're saying, because they're not in fight, flight, or freeze. Because when you go up there and your body instantly goes into fight, flight, or freeze because you're freaking out, you forget every word you're going to say. And
Yes.
this happens when you're talking to people, when you're raising your hand in a public meeting, when this happens. Public speaking skills are like life now. Like they're just something we need for everything, whether or not you're standing in front of a group of people. It's that safety,
Mm.
that meditative practices, like all of it, like listening to your body and what you need and what's authentic to you. It shows up. It shows
And
up and
I would
people can see it.
I would recommend to people to go and take public speaking classes, workshops, join a Toastmasters if you've got one near you. Do anything, start a podcast, go guest on podcasts, do things that put you into that force zone of growth where you might be hiding in that comfort zone and not exploring outside of that. Those environments directly put you into, you are here to grow. If you don't, I mean, you could go and take a class and waste your money and not grow, but you're putting yourself in an environment to grow and to learn yourself. I love that term that you used, to learn yourself. That could be an acting class too. It doesn't mean you want to be a professional actor or a professional speaker or a professional podcaster. It means you want to know and learn yourself.
Yeah, well, and
Right?
it makes a difference. I mean, as an entrepreneur, it makes a difference in if you're a teacher, it makes a difference in everything that we do as humans. Whenever we interact with other people, when we're comfortable with ourselves, like it changes how we parent. It changes everything when we know ourselves and we're comfortable with ourselves. And that growth
Totally.
journey is essential.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've so enjoyed this journey with you to learn more about you and to hear all these beautiful insights and wisdom from today. I'm going to put all of the links so that people can connect to you, of course, in the show notes. But before we leave today, what is your one little nugget of wisdom that you want to leave for people that you're feeling on your heart today to share?
Learning who you are is the most unselfish thing that you can do. It radiates that self-love radiates to everyone around you. The more that you love yourself, the more capacity that you have to love everyone around you. And so the more that you can learn and appreciate who you are, the better everyone else around you is for it.
Mic drop. Amazing. Thanks so much, Carolee.